Good morning, tribal dancers. Sunday on the sofa, December 28th. Here we go. We're approaching the end of the year, the end of so many eras. So, just a little sip. Trying to do it quietly. I don't know if I succeeded. Yum. So, in my world, we're certainly not through with the holidays yet, because I celebrate all the way through to the Feast of the Epiphany on January 6th, which is Orthodox Christmas, Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, Byzantine, which is like Catholic Orthodox. So I thought I'd come on and see how you're all doing. And how was the big day of Christmas, if you celebrate that, or Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa. And I love when all of these energies come together at the same time with Yule. It's been quite a year. And I was talking with my cousin Katie yesterday, and she had noticed a big shift. And so in that shift, she felt like things were never going to be the same. And it's true. Things are never going to be the same. The first thing I said to her was, well, we need to look at the astrology of that, because it's basically the end of the Pisces era. We're entering the dawn of Aquarius. I mean, we're in Aquarius age, but you know how you are when you're learning to roller skate. You need to get a little momentum before you can go out there and do any fancy moves. So with these changes, we have to change our perspective. And hi, Annie Bear. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. My goodness, darling. You're up early on a Sunday, but then you're always up early. So back to thinking here. Hi, Paul. How are you this morning? Good morning. Good morning. It's 28 degrees here too, although it's supposed to be a little warmer and rain profusely. And how was your Christmas holiday, if that's what you celebrated? Which I think the three of us have. So we have this personal conversation going on here right now, which is fine with me because you guys are pretty wise. Hey, Dolly, how are you? Good morning. Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah. And soon we'll be screaming Happy New Year, which is hard to believe. But back to this little conversation I was having with my cousin yesterday, Katie. She said that she felt this really big shift, or that things were never going to be the same. She didn't say a shift. She just said that things weren't going to be the same. So it's the truth. We're at the end of a long 2,400 year cycle, a 26,000 year cycle, a 30-day cycle. I mean, all these things are changing. So the astrology right now is very important. It's the ending of the Piscean age. It's the ending of that. Spirituality can only be had if someone gives you the power. So there is somebody who is higher than you that has to give you the power. And it's not really like that. And for centuries, they have held this money gathering, followers snatching power over people by giving some beautiful rituals, saying things in a beautiful way. Hi, Bite Shiny Ray. Speaking in other languages, which always adds to the intrigue. Growing up Catholic, I went to Mass every day through Catholic grade school and heard the Mass in Latin. It wasn't until I was a teenager that the Mass was changed to an English Mass. And then on Sundays, High Mass was at 10, and that was always in Latin. And so that was a crowded Mass because people wanted to hang on to that. The beauty of the old language, the beauty of the old language. I had a cousin who was a nun, and I think she was already 21 when she decided to become a nun. It wasn't too long after high school, I know that. Anyway, after the Ecumenical Council of 66, she left the convent because she realized that with all of those changes, what she went into the convent for was no longer there. And what she could do was do all of those things on her own. Realization. And what do the 60s represent to us? The dawning of the age of Aquarius. Thank you, hair. But it's the truth. And as the song says, when the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, well, the moon could be in the 7th house many times before Jupiter aligns with Mars, but we are basically headed into that right around now. So we have to change our perspective on how we're going to deal with things going forward. We all know this is not going to be an easy endeavor. That we have to. Oh, thank you. Yes, Dolly. It was a good video on the new year. But we have to realize that we are going to do things more communally, more within the family. Okay, so some of the shift is, your kids are constantly growing. And then one day they're completely grown up. My son was here for the past week. He just left yesterday. And okay, he had quite a week before he got here. He was in LA International, went to O'Hare, 3 nights playing in clubs with his band. Back to O'Hare, the blizzard occurred. He had to go sleep somewhere, then go back to O'Hare, then go back to LAX, then go home, drop off his equipment, clean up the apartment, and then go back to LAX, come back to O'Hare, and then lay over there for a couple of hours and get on a flight that brings him to Flint, Michigan airport, which is not far from my house. So in all of those dealings, he got a bug, and then he came in and scarfed down Taco Bell. And he always gets sick with Taco Bell. And sure enough, the bug had food for fodder. And by Christmas Eve, I was running a temp of 101. He insists he didn't have a bug. Can't argue with him. He's 43. I always get sick with Taco Bell. Yes, you do. But it isn't always this bad. And so, what I saw in all of this was the little kid who was sick, and then the adult who turned around to take care of me because I had the flu. And then he just took over. He did all the cooking, even once I started to feel better. He did the cooking, he took care of the dogs. He took care of running back and forth to the store for things, trash out, trash in, all of that stuff. Which brings us to the one first community we have is our family unit. Even if we're single, we are still a unit. We have all of this energy going on inside of us, right? Where do we begin? To adapt to these changes that we know are consistent. It's the only thing we can count on. It's going to change. And this is a big change because we're changing an era as well. So we know that this battle is going to be hard, and we know that we have to fight it. So how do we move forward? We just begin with our own little cells. Because within the own little cell, let's go back to that 6 degrees of separation. You have a cell, and then within that cell, there's the classroom. And the kid that's still going to school has the classroom and the family unit. And then there's another cell for them out on the playground and another cell in the neighborhood. The same with all of us. We have all these different roles and different jobs to do. So how do we go about with the adaptation? The energy surrounding us. Paying attention to what we feel, what we see, what we think, what we are sensitive to, what doesn't even enter our realm of thought or our periphery of energy, because we already have this good barrier of keeping this negative energy away from us. Let me say hi to Millie and Patricia. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. So if we think about what we want to take with us, I'm an antique nut. And I like to create vignettes. My brain just is one of these, right? How many of you have that same feeling? I can't calm down. I can't calm down. And I found that having all of these things to look at, whether it's wall art, pillows on the sofa, the village under the tree, which Aaron put up for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And playing with my toys, changing them seasonally. It helps keep me calmer because there's occupational therapy. There's a creative flow going on. And people come in here and go, you got a lot of stuff. And then they sit down. Man, this is really comfortable. Now, I'm not saying everybody's got to live like that by any means. I appreciate going into homes that are decorated differently than mine. Whether it's a modern or even the 50s, which I'm not fond of the 50s. I like the old stuff, the 30s, the 1800s. So when something breaks, what do I do with it? If it's beyond repair, Depends on what it is. There's always something to do that you can recycle. If it's wood, you can burn it and put it back into the earth and let it begin all over again to grow a tree. Yeah, there's a lot of mental chaos. Let's see, can I get this on here? There's a lot of mental chaos going on in your brain. Overstimulation for me. But I don't know how to calm it down except to have this on the outside, because it becomes this giant hug. And there's energy that comes in from antiques that I just appreciate. And oftentimes when something's really broken down, I'll hang on to the good pieces and find a way to recycle it, turn it into a piece of art, especially in the garden. So much stuff can go to work in the garden. You know, just little strange things sticking out of the ground, holding up a flower. So there's so many different ways for us to repair it and keep it, trying to keep it restored to its original beauty. Let's see what Annie's saying here. I hope the trend for next Christmas is half secondhand store shopping, like the baskets and containers. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I'm a basket nut. And containers then have handmade. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen, Annie. I think that so many people are going to get back to simpler times. You know, I love Charles Dickens and Scrooge. Every version of Scrooge I own, from the original, which I have on VHS, the one that was made in 1928. Sir, oh my God, and now I cannot think of his name. I have that. I love it. I love the one from the 20s. I love the one from the late 30s. But my favorite is George Scott. George C. Scott playing Scrooge. That's one of my favorites. And then, of course, what's his name? Picard came and did one, and his is fabulous as well. But it's a simpler type of celebration, and I think that is going to get back to that, because I think what we are all disgusted by is the financial end of it, the have to buy, have to outdo, gotta overdo, you know, the commercialism that has become part of the holiday season, which basically began to happen when the inventions started to come on in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And now everybody is experiencing a wealth. So there's a lot of reasons for us to pull back and look within ourselves. Thank you, Annie. Yes, Patrick Stewart. Couldn't think of his name. Oh, yeah, McGregor. Yeah. So, anyway, let's see. What else did I write down? The memories of our ancestors. We want to incorporate that. I don't want to lose that. I know that there's a lot of horrible things that can be said about aristocracy, but I'm descendant of the last king of Poland. And how many of us have royal blood, whether it's Annie Bear's royal blood of the foundation of this whole continent, or my little connection over there to Poland, which at the time of his abdication was a huge, huge, huge land, the Kashuba land, where Germany and Poland and Russia just encompassed all of that part of Europe, or may have misspoke by calling it Europe. But he had a thing for the Tsarina, and he started to break that country up into other nations, partially because of his ardor with her and their romance. And he gave up the throne and made Poland more of the true democracy that is today. It was always had a sense towards democracy. You didn't inherit the throne. You had to be voted in. And so in that vote, of course, was the good old boys casting the vote. It wasn't like a general public vote. But at any rate, it wasn't a big step to end aristocracy for Poland when he did that. That was 1794 or 95, something like that. He died a couple of years later. You're a Kashuba. Your dad's side of the family came from Hail, Poland. Yep. My father's name is Daniec, and there's a town, Daniec, and Daniec was also an emissary for the king way back, so there's history with that side of the family as well. Of course, by the time the inheritance got to me, it was nothing left but a pitchfork. Family joke. But things like that are important because we learn from the past. And then we begin to understand our own DNA, and that's changing now too. What we've done to the earth and the air, what we've invented. This is why it's so important to be careful of AI. Einstein said it a long time ago. Beware of the machines. And he's absolutely right. We have to set our sights on filtering. Like even looking at the AI, but what are the good parts when you know this is really bad? Like the other day, I was watching this video, and I could tell it was AI. But Aaron said, "Mom, what are you watching? That's AI." But it was dogs choosing their own masters. I thought that was a pretty good idea. At an adoption center, who does the dog go to? So that could be a community thing, especially after there's a disaster and there's so many animals left homeless and so many folks left petless, to meet things up again, to find a family and a cell to work with. Oh, I've been watching Nancy Jean's Crystal Advent Calendar. Oh, where's my pocket? And I saw her I watched almost every single one of them, but she did a thing on chrysanthemum stones. So I had to have one. And of course, the company I went to, they just randomly picked one out. So this is not polished, but look, we have a third eye right there, right? Or the dove, bringing down the rays of spirit. What do we have this way? I see. Well, that could be Wolf Girl right there. Or Krampus. What do we get if we turn it this way? The Christmas star. I see a turtle with the head of a beaver, body of a beaver, or an otter laying on his back with a stone while he's floating in the water, cracking open clamshells. What do we got on the other side? That's the same side. There's the dove flying, or a dragon. I think they did good. A lily, orchid, gorgeous. Anybody else? What are you saying here, Annie? Let me see. I think that video was manipulated because the one was a cop lady and the dog picked her. Yeah, there were a couple of them, so we may not have watched the same one because I don't remember being having a cop in there. But exactly, it was manipulated. You could tell the crowd. Nobody was saying anything real. It was like they were all mumbling under their breath. But it is a good premise for sure. So some of the things that this stone is good for is exactly what we're going through right now. I wrote down the stuff because it's a long list and I couldn't remember it just learning it the first time. It's the stone of optimism, and boy, what a journey I've been on for the past 2 weeks, and I'm sure everyone here has the same feelings. I'm wanting to connect with my relatives in Mexico since both my grandparents were from there. Sure, there is a deep ancestry there, and it's so important. And not many of you will agree with me, but I absolutely love cold gray weather. Why? Well, I think I'm from the Sumi, that tundra area where the reindeer live. I believe that I came across the Bering Straits, that I am drawn to this because of having it in my blood for so long. I'm not saying I don't love all the seasons. I am a Michigander and I do live in this century. But I have this propensity for enjoying days like this. Even in the summer, a gray day means, oh, awesome. It's like a day off. So, in these changes that we have above us, we need optimism and joy and personal growth. Very important right now, this personal growth. Good time to do your chart. If you do your own astrology, good time to do it. Good time to have somebody help you out with it. I'm available if you're interested. And this is also about finding our own personal purpose. And I'm just drawing a blank on where in your chart you can find what your personal purpose is. I'll bring it up on the next show with Valerie when we do the next moon. And it's embracing the change with harmony. Because we can't just, we have to bring something forward, and that is the balance. I'm still going to be me, So how do I embrace that change without putting my system into shock. It's a talisman for new paths and courage. And courage is something that we need when we're starting out on something new. And we know that this is going to be. Oh, hi, Lulu. And who else did I miss? Kelly. Kelly Bach, how are you? Everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. So, a talisman for new paths and a way into abundance. It's a way to connect to spirit and be in our present selves at the same time. So it's a very good grounding stone. It is, it releases negativity and helps with manifestation. Going forward, we need to manifest this change within us, this ability to accept people where they are, the changes that they're going through, to meet them at their level. It was one of the good things about teaching kids, being a school teacher. You learn to meet them at their level. Let's see, what else does it say? Activate your inner potential. So bringing out your best all the time. And that's not serendipitous, because it's not something that can happen. We're human. Above all, we are human. So this aligns with root chakra right to the crown. And in that is where we find our harmony and our balance and our personal purpose, our own deeper inner meaning. What am I here for? I am here to help kids. That was so defining for me. But it wasn't the only thing I did. I'm here to dance. I'm here to sing. I'm here to paint, draw, create vignettes, garden. I'm here for all these different jobs. As a grandmother right now, I don't have any grandchildren, but I got my fur babies, and I really miss Groucho. She used to love to sit in the Christmas tree amongst the sparkling, colorful lights and baubles on the branches. So it's a great stone to have with you for grounding, and also to help you create. I mean, with your own feng shui, the times when that one thing on the counter is all you need, or nothing. Just let the colors do their thing. And it is made out of, let's see, cellulite, feldspar, and calcite are these crystals in here that form in this matrix of limestone. And it's considered to be a very lucky stone. So, anybody have any plans for the upcoming New Year's celebration? Or are you like me? It's a quiet thing. Stopped going out there for a long time ago. Oh, thank you, Annie Bear. Yeah, it's still odd to go back there and not have her, or to not spend all the time that I used to spend back there. I find myself still going to spend time with her to make sure, or to hear her scream, "I want to play the wheel. Here we go. Here we go." Anyway, anybody have an idea for New Year's Eve? You're going to have a fire out back, Annie? Awesome. Yeah, it's probably going to be weather that I'm not going to do a fire out back this year. Hopefully everything will go correctly and back at it next year. So I've been here for about a half an hour now. What you got here, Kelly? My children will be flying to see their father in California. Please pray for their safe travels. Absolutely. They will be gone on the 29th through the 7th. Absolutely. Absolutely. Prayers coming your way. I'll put the names. You don't have to give me your children's names. With your name, I'm going to put and family on Joan of Arc's altar because your name is already there. What are you saying here? You're doing a live stream at 10 a.m. on New Year's Eve, and then at night we are going to eat junk food. Yay! And play music and games and have fun family time. Isn't that the best? That's Moira was supposed to join Aaron here. What a week they had, honest. She was in Seattle. She's a producer, so she was in Seattle filming a commercial. An ad for an airlines. Just had to say that. While Aaron was doing his thing in Chicago and then went home because the landlord was going to do his annual inspection. Well, of course, the apartment was trashed. They're both in two different directions, right? And the animals are being boarded. So he goes home to drop off his equipment, but clean the apartment. And then gets on a plane, comes here. Moira is now in Seattle, has to pick up the animals and then go and reboard and keep them for a week and then reboard them so that she could join here. And we were going to be together for New Year's Eve. So it was going to be a long haul, a good 13, 14 days of being together. Actually, I think they were not leaving till January 4th or 5th. Anyway, so when she got a phone call from the border that said Waldo, the black cat, had a growth on his toe, had something on his foot, on his toe. So she went and picked him up and took them both right to the vet. And it turned out that Waldo had to stay. The dog didn't get much of a check over at that time. Waldo had squamous cell cancer and had to have his toe amputated, and he's got growths all around inside his body, one in his lungs, I think she said. A couple days later, the dog's got like aqualung, snot running down his nose. The Echo got sick. So she had to change and not come at all because now not only would it not be wise to board them anywhere, who's going to take care of them to come in and take care of them? So I sent him home yesterday telling him to reconnect with his wife. Waldo, he's 15 years old. Not that that means anything, except that's what's happened. This is one of my beefs, is that I'm suddenly 76 years old to the doctor. And that puts me in a category with no name. And I used to be Diana, who was pretty healthy. I have a minor inconvenience. I'm still healthy. But the less I can do, the farther away perfect health becomes. So I can't wait till the end of this and the ball rolls on. So I'm going to let everybody go and do their Sunday things. Thank you all for coming by. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's an at-risk category, but the problem is it's not good for people who are sick. Because now we're all in the same category. And it's not good for people who don't need the certain medications because you're going to get them anyway. It's part of protocol. Like that whole MRI nuclear stress test. What is that? It has a shelf life in your body. And I'm still messing with it. Anyway, Happy New Year. Dolly, I will hope to see you on the morning of New Year's Eve. Annie Bear, I know I will catch you around. Denise Fletcher, hello. Sorry, but I'm just getting ready to sign off. And so, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. See you all soon. Bye-bye.